What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Dave B. You watching Dave B on TV, where we go beyond that everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. And I'm in a nice neighborhood, so I'm keeping the volume down. You know what I'm saying? Nah, fuck that shit for real. But nah, I'm waiting on my, I'm just waiting on something. But I wanted to chop it up real quick about, just about, I guess, clarity and clarity in general. I was gonna say relationships, but it's kind of like it plays out in many. It's like and when I said relationship, I was thinking romantic, but when I do say, I am going to go ahead and just say in relationships because it expands beyond just romantic partnerships. It goes into all things. You know what I'm saying, and like your relation to all things. You know what I'm saying, because even if how you go about even type of like shit that you own, you know what I'm saying, your relationship to things that you own, your relationship to money and resources maybe, or your relationship to thoughts and feelings, you know what I'm saying, like it goes in many different spectrums. So keep that in mind as we're talking about this, because the whole point of the video is about clarity. I was I was rolling up and I just touched my eye like on some dumb shit, so you already know how that goes. But anyway, for the most part, it's like basically things all come down to a starting point. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Dolo and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because this has been a topic that's been just coming up, and I'm starting to see how starting points. I mean, because you got to think about it. How you start is how you finish, and if you didn't start on a clear step or direction or a clear motive, you didn't make a clear step in the beginning, the whole process or the whole travel, wherever you're trying to go to, point A to point B, the whole travel is going to be filled with a bunch of missteps because you are, because it's kind of like this. If you have the wrong starting point for something, it's like you're always going to kind of be you know what I'm saying, it's going to be a process where you're going to kind of stumble and fall based upon what you initially thought you was in it for. And that's the thing, when we involve ourselves in things, it's like that's what we're doing with our spirit. We're getting into certain form, and then through that form we figure that form out. And that, you know what I'm saying, why, you know what I'm saying, you're making a figure out of that, because once you make a figure out of something, then it becomes a sigil. In other words, it becomes tangible. When things are tangible, it's like it can become a tool. So that's like how, I was speaking about experience. You're going through something, and then it's like the reason you, like with Mercury and Jupiter, get mixed up, and why, people use their mind for the wrong things, or not so much why, but when you use your mind for the wrong things, it's like you can't figure it out because you haven't even experienced it or gone through it to have a within as without overstanding of whatever shape and form you are involving yourself in. You know what I'm saying? And once you get into it, then from that point forward, you have to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? This is like squaring out the circle type shit, where you start off with the circle, which is like a feeling, but then you create a thought around it, or you know what I'm saying? You create a thought around it to give it structure and direction. And then from that point forward, it's a tool. You're using it in tandem. And see, that goes even on a higher level when we talk about men and women. You know what I'm saying? It's like, as far as community goes, and why it's important that men and women, like it's like a reason why relationships are so just fucked up right now, you know what I'm saying? And the reason is because basically, of course, the starting points, but also because we have feminine and masculine energies being on different spectrums, but people not having the right ideas on how to bring balance when interacting, and a lot of that comes from the starting point shit, you know what I'm saying? But the point of it all is that there, in any area of your life, there needs to be balance. There needs to be some form of exchange, and that exchange is going to have to be on some kind of positive negative spectrum. And that's not just good and bad, you know what I'm saying, but a balance and percentage level of masculine energy and feminine energy, positive and negative, right brain and left brain, if you will, emotions and feelings, if you will. There's many different spectrums and shit. How deep we go beyond that everyday bullshit, you know what I'm saying? We go beyond the depths type shit. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to all y'all, man, because like every time I see y'all, especially at these so group meetups, y'all remind me I even named myself that. Like I be forgetting, and then like somebody will say beyond, and they be like, yeah, right, beyond that everyday bullshit, and I'll be like, you damn right, like, you know what I'm saying? Some real shit. I fuck with y'all, like, thank y'all, because I just do this shit. This ain't about me. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, anyway, getting back to the point. So, you know what I'm saying? We talking about this shit, and so starting points and shit. So, like I said, clarity. Now, let's get real, right? Let's get real, because like I was saying in the Mercury video, we experience, figure out the shape, and then we have Mercury to analyze it, and through the analyzation know what it's for. Because see, Gemini energy, third house energy, that's all about, and Mercury, that's all about touching something with your hands, like, things within grasp. The reason it's about things within grasp, because it's like there's a certain amount of information you can have through touch, through exchange, right? And Gemini, even though it's like it's air, communication, being familiar with something is like your spirit touching something. It's like your spirit being able to touch. Like I was saying, the form, so you can feel the shape. Through that touch, information is transferred, and that information that's transferred is like the analyzation process. That's when you're analyzing something. You're analyzing something to see the result of it, and once you see the result of it, you know how to utilize it for whatever it is that you are trying to do with it, aka you turn it into a tool. So this is like a certain, because see, like when it comes to these spiritual hacks, like the real ones, you know what I'm saying, like the ones we be dropping and shit like that, it's like it be shit that we overlook every day in our lives, but once you pinpoint a certain energy, you can utilize it in specific moments for your life, instead of just it being something that you constantly have to stumble over, you know what I'm saying? But getting back to the point, talking about starting points. So when we talk about starting points and shit like that, you already know it comes down to a situation where it's like, okay, if you have, like I said, like, so through experience, we learn new information. So this is why in our lifetime, we've gone through different things, and we've grown through many different faces. We always say we die every night, you know what I'm saying, when we go to bed. We even use terms like this in music and shit, where it's like, yeah, that was the old me. The old me is dead. This is we're constantly reinventing ourselves based upon us actually being going through the experience, going through an astral travel, right? Now, through that experience and that astral travel, it's a situation where we have to acknowledge the fact that as we go through new things, we go through new forms, we figure new shit out. Life is about this continuous process. So when we talk about starting points, first of all, it's okay to switch a starting point, because as you go through the travel, it's like, the starting point is nothing more, nothing less than the initial intent, or the thing that you're in it for, what you're in it for. Because a lot of people jump into things based upon desires. When you're jumping in based upon desires, that's not a clear starting point, because it's not you actually starting anything. It's actually you having the end in mind. And while, like, when we start talking about magic and shit, yeah, you want to have the end in mind, but to get to the end, you have to have a clear starting point. So it kind of gets me to a point where I'm like, okay, so, because if you think about it, when you're in a desire, right, and you do something based upon a desire, you're not thinking about how it's going to affect anyone in the immediate time. You're thinking about the end goal, getting to that sweet fruit, and that sweet fruit, you know what I'm talking about, whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying, metaphorically speaking, because everything is like that we desire is like a form of sweet, like, you know what I'm saying, something that we can't get enough of, something that was just on the tip of our tongue, that we don't know why, but we have a strong passion for, and we desire it. These are things that we do with the end in mind. This is why at night, at night, say you trying to lose weight, or trying to just whatever you're trying to do, right? Like, a lot of people say you shouldn't eat past 10 p.m. type shit, right? Or 8 p.m., whatever it is. But you have a craving, right? It's like 9:30. It's like, damn, it's too early in the night. I got this mean craving. A lot of people, if you're too lost in the desire, you'll just eat that shit regardless of what your journey actually is. You're just trying to get to the end goal. So it's a form of chasing. Now, nothing's wrong with having desires. We all have to have desires, but it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. So looking at those desires with the proper starting point, it's like a system of it's like a system where you see what you desire, right? Because we all got desires. So acknowledge what you desire, right? Never run from your desires, because your desires is going to tell you partly of what you been lost in here and probably need to detach from. It's like you see, a lot of people, a lot of religions and things of that nature, they'll tell you to restrict certain things. Now, restriction is just like what I was saying with Mercury, and we can go in on that too, but it's a tool, because we're talking about virtues and principles. And then we use, if you into astrology, even if you're not into astrology, see, that's where people get fucked up too, because it's like, even if you're not into astrology, these things still apply as virtues and principles. But if you are into astrology, you could just call it Saturn energy. And all you need to know is wrapped up within that phrase, you know what I'm saying? Saturn energy. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? But like, restriction is nothing more, nothing less than virtues and principles that are to be used as tools. So it's like, you got to think of it. It's not about trying, but too much of something is always going to lead to the opposite reaction and an explosion because of pent up energy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a system where we have to acknowledge the fact, hey, we have desires, but it's not about running from them. Like I was saying in the beginning of the video, it's about balance, percentages, like masculine, feminine, desires being on the more feminine aspect because it's more driven by an emotion, a deep pull. And this is why even females play out a lot of energies where they might do things that to a man, or, you know what I'm saying, by logical or practical standards might not make sense, but it made all the sense into the world based upon how she felt. And a lot of times the woman end up being right based upon it coming from a place that's not even rooted in the physical world. It's on a different plane, you know what I'm saying? It's in the feminine world, it's in the yin realm. So, you know what I'm saying? And vice versa, masculine energy being more so having a practical solution to something, looking at something like, you know what I'm saying? Looking at something and coming to the most simple conclusion possible, based upon what logically makes sense. Looking at it physically and then knowing what we can do about it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like I had learned this, a lot of times, like it's not that, it's like women might present to you a problem or something like that. And now, and as far as masculine and feminine energy goes, a lot of times women do want to be corrected on certain things. But at the same time, like when a woman does present something to you, it's not always something that she expects you to fix. Sometimes she just want to be heard about something or express an emotion, a way that she felt about something, whether it's makes sense to feel that way or not, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, you might be a man who's really into your just not very spiritual, not really esoteric, doesn't really understand feminine energy, and you can make the mistake of thinking, man, you always got to solve her problems, or start to get annoyed by the things that she might talk about after she come home from work, and you might be tossing out 1,000,001 practical solutions, but she's like, yo, I don't even want to hear that shit. That's not the point. You know what I'm saying? That's not the point of what is actually going on. And ironically, you know what I'm saying, this is a good segue into starting point. So like I was saying, that the desire comes from more of the feminine aspect, the negative side of things, the yin side of things, while the masculine side of things, or the positive side of things, the more, you know what I'm saying, the light side of things, the yang side of things, would be doing like the starting point. You know what I'm saying? So the starting point becomes a system where, no, we have to it's like, we have to make sure it's coming from a place that made the most sense, as far as like having a clear starting point. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it has to come from a place of clarity, you know what I'm saying, rather than a place of chaos. It has to come from a place of what's the right word? You know what I'm saying? The starting point has to come from a place of, and like when I'm using like masculine and feminine, I'm not trying to get you lost into thinking, well, I'm a man, so I should do things like this. It's like, no, you as a man or woman have both energies. And so it's about knowing the energies within you. You have certain desires. Every man, every woman has certain desires, but every man and woman has the ability to come to a logical, practical solution based upon what they see. And that's the masculine energy, and to take action on it and see what they can do. So it's like, when we're looking at starting points and shit like that, yeah, on one end, you're always going to have certain desires. But before you get lost into a desire, the only reason you got lost is because you didn't have a clear starting point, aka a clear masculine thought on what you're doing while you're in that form. A clear intent based upon, okay, this is my desire, but I've looked at my desire and what I want practically out of it, so I'm going to come up with a practical starting point that's going to initiate the process of manifesting what it is that I am trying to manifest. You feel me? So it's like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like these are the spectrums that be on. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us wouldn't get into things if it wasn't for having a certain desire in mind. A lot of us wouldn't even participate in a lot of things if we didn't feel as though there was something to get out of it by getting into it, if that makes sense. That's the whole reason why we're even in a body, a physical body, because we felt some kind of way about things. We felt some kind of way about unfinished business here, anything, just heavy emotions that we end up getting involved in, and then we develop these attachments to them, and then we get lost into these shapes and forms, and then we start to believe these things are us, and that furthers the process where, like I said, you had the wrong starting point. You lost the essence of what you actually are trying to involve yourself in, or you lost track of exactly what you were trying to get in and out for. You feel me? And like that even goes along to the running joke we got with the soul group, where it's like get in, get out, because when we get lost, that's just us being too involved in a certain aspect, or you know what I'm saying, of whatever it is that we actually trying to do. It's like what it really is it's a situation where we get lost and wrapped up into something and not quite knowing how to, you know what I'm saying, like, because we, you know what I'm saying, like at that point it don't even matter. The point is you had the wrong starting point. You jumped into it for the wrong things. You participated in the wrong energies based upon what you thought you was going to get, right? So how do you have a clear starting point? How do you monitor this? Well, this goes into what I was saying about Jupiter and Mercury, where it's like you're going through different experiences, but at the same time, you're learning new things. And with these new learning, like as you learn new things, your spirit expands. As you expand, then it's a situation where it's like, through this expansion, right, you have things that you can now analyze once you contract, because once you contract, that's like everything coming into itself, and then now these things are within arm's reach. It's kind of like the expansion portion is truly, you know, expansion and contraction is the process of Jupiter, you know what I'm saying, because you can't have one without the other. But naturally, if we're really like just looking at the shit for what it is, the contraction is bringing things closer to you, aka like the ninth house jumping into the third house. It's like there's a lot of magic between Sagittarius energy and Gemini energy, just because of what they represent, to the point where, you know what I'm saying, it's a situation where it's even, you know, it's a situation where, you know, damn, I seen the text, threw me off low key, but it's all good because it's right here. You know, it's a situation a situation in which the North Node naturally comes from that Sagittarius energy and the expansion of something, uncomfortable situations, but going through it light enough to just experience it. And then the South Node being the Gemini energy, which, like I said, is like natural contraction, where things are brought close to you, and then it's all about what's in your proximity, because what's in your proximity is the things you're familiar with, and you can only get familiar with something that you've experienced, you know what I'm saying? So both of these energies go hand in hand, like I was just saying. So as you go through new things, you have new information. With that new information, you have new either ways to go about it, or this is where it comes in, where it's like I feel like you constantly have to re-examine your starting point. You know, even though a lot of us get lost in the concept of a starting point being something that's set in stone, and we sit back and we let it be known, but oftentimes as we're going through these things, we might forget what starting point we even initiated, you know what I'm saying? And part of that masculine energy is also knowing how to be still, or knowing it's like active, but also knowing how to be still, because it's kind of like in reverse, because like you would think the feminine energy is more like stillness and maintaining, and it is, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, so esoterically was like that's how it is down here, but esoterically it's like, or vice versa. It's like a situation where the desire is what's keeping you in motion. That it's kind of like it's the pull. You know what I'm saying? The starting point, or the masculine side of things, is more so what's keeping you structured and on point as far as what it is you actually even in it for. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it becomes a thing where it's like you kind of doing these two things in tandem as you going through new experiences with whatever it is that you manifested for yourself. constantly you're going to come across new information and have no choice but to sit back and say, okay, well, hold on. What am I actually like? What is the reasoning for, not even the reasoning, but what am I actually getting at? Like, what, you know what I'm saying? What am I trying to get in by getting out? And this even goes along with starting to consider things, whether things are even long term or short term. These are certain things that we have to consider even, around that starting point, period. You know what I'm saying? And these things happen on instant. A lot of times these things that's happening on the spot. You know what I'm saying? We might have originated with a starting point, but we might come into new information or feel some kind of way, develop a new desire. Because, you know what I'm saying? And that goes along with certain things where it's like you also have to have spiritual discernment, because like it's never about being stuck in one thing. It's always about, like I said, expansion, contraction. And through that contraction, figure out if what you're doing is working or if it's not. And you could always tell that based upon the reactions and interactions you have externally, you know what I'm saying? Externally, that's what kind of like the external is for in a sense, of course, to relate and get new aspects of yourself to kind of develop and work through, but also to, you know, what was I just saying? But also to like, I forgot what I was just saying, but getting back on the point, you know what I'm saying? The point of things is just, it's not about getting stuck in things. It's about always knowing that like new information is going to come. We grow. Don't be afraid to grow. And I think that's kind of the point I was getting at, is like we have to kill certain desires we think we want, but as we get closer and closer, we either see these things, like I said, what happens reactions wise as far as externally, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we chase certain things that don't want us, and chasing is the wrong starting point in the beginning of things. It's about attracting. You feel me? So it's like even getting deeper into it, like when you are looking at your desires, these are things that you might initially want to chase. But what you got to do is create a feeling in which that thing is chasing you. You know what I'm saying? By being that thing, because that's the only way in which you're going to even have a light bright enough to attract those same things that look familiar to whatever light you're representing and throwing out there to come to. You know what I'm saying? So it gets so deep. It gets so deep. And see, part of being whatever it is that you desire is like having the right starting point, knowing exactly the shape and form that you trying to see out of all of this motion. You know what I'm saying? All of this motion, energy and motion, emotion, aka the pursuit of the feminine, or the pursuit of the desire that you have. Like I said, nothing wrong with a desire. We all got them. You know what I'm saying? But it's about how you go about it and not getting lost into certain aspects. But also, like I said, knowing what it is the fuck you want in the first place. And this goes into my point at the very beginning when it comes to relationships, even, on a personal level or with different things in our personal life. It's like a lot of times we just be keeping shit around for the sake of keeping it. But we have no intention to, we you know what I'm saying? Because what it is we're on the pursuit. We're all on a pursuit. But based upon not having the right starting point, you just doing unnecessary steps. You're initiating unnecessary things. You're creating long-term scenarios based upon short-term ideas, or short-term scenarios that you wish were long-term. You know what I'm saying? AKA where you get only pockets and crumbs of what it is that you truly want and feel like you need. But, all you able to manifest, like I said, is little glimpses. And the only reason you getting a glimpse rather than the whole thing is because you starting wrong. You know what I'm saying? You got the wrong starting point, and it's a situation where it's like you because you got the wrong starting point, you don't even have the proper form to you know what I'm saying? You don't even have the proper form to, or logistics to even move properly in the direction of whatever you're pursuing. You only gonna learn that through stumbling. And that's my point in the beginning. You're gonna be stumbling because of the wrong starting point. Whereas if you know exactly what it is that you want when you get in, when you get out, it's like boom, you can have a starting point that just allows for that to happen. And then you can finish that. Because see, I feel like also because we in this realm, right? We in this chakra, Gaia, Tiamat. This chakra is in a cycle. This being that we on is dead. So it's playing out dead virtues and principles in a loop system. And that's why everything here is always a situation where it feels like, damn, we just keep doing the same thing over and over again, to the point where it manifests itself into you having similar experiences with different individuals. But it seemed like a certain pattern be following you all the time. And that's true. And that just comes from the mindset that we build here, where we have this mindset of just playing out these cycles. And we often, because, you know, this realm is all about, it's like a lot of things in this realm push us to want to be comfortable. And you know what I'm saying, a lot of the principles and virtues that come with this planet in general, and the energy of this planet, is about stability, being focused in on something, letting something grow. You know what I'm saying? Letting something grow, nurturing nature type shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of this chakra be on some shit where we create scenario, and then of course we magic square shit, but I ain't gonna go in too hard on that today. But I'm just saying, like, magic square shit where they play onto that shit. The magic, the magic government, the shadow government, they know these things already, so they create scenarios in which they play on these things. And so people will look at me because I'm speaking about it in the way I am, like, that's not happening. But it's like, you do these shits every day. You get up and go to work every day, knowing damn well that has nothing to do with the desires you have as far as what you want to experience in this lifetime. You want to be a fucking, like, you know what I'm saying? And this is not to say throw everything away and just jump off the cliff and you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, you want to make sure you make sense with your movements, but that's the starting point. Because even if you do have a dream outside of a 9-to-5, you might need a 9-to-5 as a starting point in order to accumulate enough whatever resources in order to do what you want to do. And it's not about even looking at it like that, because, you know, like I said, it goes deep. It's more so about being like, you know, like I said, because, you know what I'm saying, that, or it is about that, you know what I'm saying, that was a good point. But it's like, I don't want y'all to think y'all have to do a bunch of shit to get where it is that you're going. It's because it's all about your life, and like I said, spiritual discernment, because whatever you are actually going through, that's going to matter the most, and what makes the most sense to you as an individual. You feel me? You might be in a situation where a 9-to-5 does cramp on your ability to create, so that's not the right starting point. Maybe it is, you know what I'm saying, but that's where it gets very dicey. That's where it gets individual, you know what I'm saying. It comes down to the individual, which that's what spirituality is all about, knowing your individual ways of moving and working with the magic that's already here, being an alchemist yourself, you feel me. But yeah, you know what I'm saying, so starting points is essential. And how we get better starting points is knowing how to balance what we're desiring, but also keeping in mind what it is we want and coming to a clear conclusion. Now, if you can't come to a clear conclusion, because a lot of us can't. A lot of us want everything. A lot of us want the cake and to eat it too. A lot of us want more than one cake. A lot of us want 10,000 cakes, where our eyes get bigger than our mouth. And that's a lot of time I feel like also be the problem when and that's, like I said, an imbalance between a desire and what you practically can create as a starting point. Because a lot of times we jump, like I said, we jump into things and we don't even have enough resources or energy to do anything with the actual, you know what I'm saying, to do anything or go anywhere with the desire that we want. You know what I'm saying? We just have the desire in mind and we're chasing that. But, you know what I'm saying, at the same time, it's like we don't even have the resources to have to do the starting point that we, you know, because we're too lost in the desire that we want. So we jump into the desire, and it's automatically going to be chaos based upon us traveling through it. You know what I'm saying? It's automatically going to be chaos because of us jumping into it, but not having the proper balance. You know what I'm saying? Not having the masculine energy behind it to make the most sense out of, you know what I'm saying, what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Sorry, somebody over by my car and shit like that. We waiting on some people. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's how it be. You know what I'm saying? That's how it be. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? I know that's nasty. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say and shit like that. So, you know, like I said, I appreciate y'all, you know. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? So this really, you know, that's what it really comes down to. Because, like, even, like, I will say, you know, even when we're relating to different things in our life, getting involved into different things, having certain relationships with certain things, like, because we all, like, it comes down to even to the smallest form, like I was saying about somebody trying to lose weight, their relationship with food, their relationship with the things that they do, their routine. because, you know, all these play a part into whatever it is that you're trying to do. People jump into desires not considering all the things from the starting point that is actually going to involve, you know. And sometimes it's like you don't want to think too much. Like I said, it's about experience. So it's about still remaining light enough to travel and go through an experience, but not, you know what I'm saying, feeling bogged down by it. Okay, yeah. Sorry, you know what I'm saying? People, you know, things be going on and shit like that, so I'll be listening to other places. But yeah, let me end this video and shit like that. We gonna go in more on this, you know what I'm saying? But just keep that in mind, you know what I'm saying? It's just, it all about, it come down to those, balancing that, balancing the desire that you have and balancing the starting point, you feel me? And, you know what I'm saying, using this energy to navigate the best way you can, you feel me? So yeah, much love, and I'll catch you on the next one.